Hey guys, what's going on? I'm recording this video on Easter, so happy Easter to everyone. He is risen. If you know the response to that, put it in the comments below. But today we're going to talk about Zugzwang, what it is, and why is it important in chess. So I actually had a game recently where I had a perfect example of how to get Zugzwang, and I want to show that to you and explain what Zugzwang is all about. So let's take a look. Alright, so if you Google Zugzwang, you'll get the definition: a situation in which the obligation to make a move in one's turn is a serious, often decisive disadvantage. The way that I would define it is, because you can't pass in chess, sometimes you're in a position where everything is fine, but you have to move, and so by moving, you have to put yourself into a bad position. So that's my definition of Zugzwang. So I'll explain that more in just a second. So this is a game I played just a couple days ago, and the first thing that I want to show you is we have opposite colored bishops. So his bishop is on the dark squares, and my bishop is on the light squares. And a lot of times in games like that, it's a draw. And you can see how all of his pawns are on dark squares, almost all of them. And so his bishop can defend those. My bishop can never attack those. Same thing for my pawns. You know, I can defend him with my bishop. He can't attack them. And then everything's kind of blockaded, right? Like this pawn is blockaded. I can't push it forward. And his pawns are all blockaded. If he tries to push them forward, they're all going to get captured. Okay, so it almost looks like it should be a draw. But at this moment in the game, my opponent makes a mistake. He puts his bishop here, and I had the opportunity to put him into Zugzwang. And so I move my king here, placing him into Zugzwang. So the reason it's Zugzwang is because if black could pass and say, you know what, I'm not going to move anymore. You can move as much as you want. I'm just going to pass my turn. If that was allowed in chess, which it's not, but if it was, I would not be able to do anything. The only thing that I could do is like move my king over here and gobble up this pawn. But then his bishop is defended by his king, and all these pawns are defending each other. So I could never capture any of these pieces. And I can't force his king to move because my bishop is on the wrong color square. My bishop can't really help me. None of my pawns can help me. The only one that can even move is this one, and he just captures it. And my king could run around as much as I want, back and forth and all over the place. I could never do anything. But you're not allowed to pass in chess. So because it's his turn and he has to move, he's going to be forced to put himself into a bad position. So he has one kind of waiting move over here. He can move this pawn. That's what he does. But then I put him into Zugzwang again, basically. And I guess technically it wasn't Zugzwang until right now. So I moved my bishop back here. So he's got to move. If he could pass, he would be fine. But he's got to move. If he moves his king, only place, he's going to lose his bishop. So he doesn't want to do that. If he moves this pawn, well, I'm just going to take it. He loses it for free. If he moves this pawn, I'm just going to take it, loses the pawn. If he moves this one, I'm just going to take it. So the only thing he can do is like move this bishop somewhere, but that's a bad move for him because now I'm going to take this pawn with my king. But it doesn't matter. Right? He's in Zugzwang, he has to do it. So this is an example of Zugzwang. He moves there, I capture the pawn, and now I should be winning. Right? He had to put himself into a bad position because of Zugzwang. So most of the time you'll see Zugzwang in chess is towards the end of the game. In a lot of games where pawns are kind of locked up like this, and then eventually you'll get into positions where sometimes one player would like to just pass and they have to move. And here's one more example that's much more common in a king and pawn ending. If I move my king here, I'm placing black in Zugzwang because ideally he would like to just pass. He would like to pass his turn because his king is preventing my king from moving forward. He's also preventing my pawn from getting a queen. If he was allowed to pass, he would be able to just get a draw. But because he can't pass, he's in Zugzwang in this position. He has to make a move that he doesn't want to the side, either way. And when he does, it allows my king to come up. Now I'm controlling all of these squares, and I can go get a queen with my pawn. And so this is an example of Zugzwang that you'll see much more often, a king and pawn ending, where you're forcing the opponent to make a bad move, right? As soon as I get my king here, I'm forcing him to make a move he doesn't want to play. So he's in Zugzwang, and I win the game. All right, guys, well, I hope that made sense and you learned something there. I just wanted to take advantage of that opportunity from that game I played recently to show you what Zugzwang is and how you can use it to win games. As always, thanks for watching. Stay sharp, play smart, and take care.